Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. The last video I did was on Netanyahu's 44 seconds of silence at the United Nations on September 24th, 2015, as a protest to the Iran nuclear deal, largely spearheaded by the 44th President Barack Hussein Obama of the United States. What I want to show you in this video is in greater detail how certain numbers have been connected to political assassinations in Israel and in the United States. We're going to begin with the death of Yitzhak Rabin, the former Prime Minister of Israel, just as Netanyahu now is. Here are the recent Prime Ministers of Israel. Yitzhak Rabin was murdered in 95, replaced by Shimon Peres. Ehud Barak, if you're not aware, was the Prime Minister of Israel when September 11th occurred. Or he might have just stepped down just months before September 11th. But either way, it was he who went on TV and said that the United States response to the attacks on September 11th should be a war on terrorism. It was Ehud Barak who coined the phrase war on terrorism and said this is what the United States response should be. He made those remarks on September 12th, 2001, the day after 9/11. Of course, on September 11th, there were Israeli spies in New Jersey recording the attacks who went on public television in their nation and said they were here to document the attacks. That means very clearly that Israel was well aware of September 11th before it occurred. I have done videos showing all the connections from Israel to September 11th. Please check those out. I just want you to be aware of these prime ministers here and the influence they have had on the United States. Anyhow, Yitzhak Rabin was murdered by the numbers. He was murdered on November 4th. In many parts of the world, the day is written before the month, so this date is written 4/11. He was killed in the year 95. Notice that he was murdered at 21:30 hours. That's the same as 9:30 p.m. 9-3 is a lot like 93, an incredibly important number to the Zionists. The Congress in Israel is known as Knesset, which has gematria of 93. Very special number to these people. But notice the date he died on, November 4th, which can be written 4/11. The word assassin, he was assassinated by gunshot. The word assassin has gematria of 411. 411. 4 times 11 is 44. Again, the kill number, the amount of seconds Netanyahu remained silent at the United Nations. The name Yitzhak Rabin in gematria is quite interesting. It is 63 the small way, and it is 144 the big way. 144, a very special number. In Jewish gematria, the word time equals 144. It is also a number connected to 44. Pull this up here for you, Truth Seeker. Bear with me while this loads. Covered this in the last video, but it's a very important point. When you write out 44, it sums to 144. When you write out the date April 4th, which is a lot like 4/4, it sums to 144. The first president to ever die in office was William Henry Harrison, the 9th president, who died 1 month into his term on April 4th, just like Martin Luther King Jr. would die on April 4th, just like the World Trade Centers would be opened on April 4th. The last president to die in office in the United States was John F. Kennedy, the 44th term president, who died on the first day of Sagittarius. Sagittarius has the gematria of 144. So 44, 144, very much connected to death. This man had it in his name. Again, we started with Netanyahu's 44 seconds of silence. The date he died on, Yitzhak Rabin, had a life lesson number of 39, the reflection of 93. He was shot at 9:30 p.m. The Old Testament, which the Jews go by, is of 39 books. Knesset, Israel's Congress, has 93 gematria the big way, 39 the small way. The date he died on also has a connection to 110, a number very much connected to Israel, Zionism, and more. The World Trade Centers were 110 stories tall. The name Osama bin Laden equals 110. The word president has gematria of 110. Of course, the prime minister is the equivalent of president. The reason Israel exists is because it's part of an agenda, but the pinnacle of that agenda, the blame, was mounted on a man known as Adolf Hitler. Look at the gematria of Adolf Hitler, Truth Seeker. 110. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, the 110th day of the year. It's even worse than that with Adolf Hitler. The small way, Adolf Hitler equals 56, just like the month April, which he was born in and died in, and he also died just days after turning age 56. Again, everything that the Zionists do is by the numbers. Adolf Hitler was an agent of the Zionists, just playing his role in the grand deception that is a deception against humanity. We the people. We've been given a false narrative, a bunch of lies, a bunch of false reasoning to understand the things that have been done in this world that have all ultimately been done to hurt all of us. The year he was shot in, 1995, the year alone has a numerology of 114, another important number to the Zionists. World War has gematria of 114. Pearl Harbor has gematria of 114. Holocaust has gematria of 114. Right now in the United States, we are living in the time of the 114th Congress, which was led by John Boehner. He will be resigning later this month, October. He'll be replaced by Orrin Hatch. Orrin Hatch, the way he spells it with that double R, guess what his name gematria is? I shouldn't say that he'll be replaced by Orrin Hatch. That isn't necessarily true. But right now, Orrin Hatch is directly in command behind John Boehner. And notice how these two guys have name gematria of 114 or at the top of the 114th Congress. This is what's been going on all over this world. People plugged in by the numbers, named by the numbers. Signs of the agents. Netanyahu was invited by John Boehner to come speak to the 114th Congress, which he did, something unprecedented. The Prime Minister of Israel had never spoken to Congress before the 114th Congress after being invited by John Boehner. Yitzhak Rabin, that Prime Minister who was assassinated that we're talking about, who was shot at 9:30 p.m., his death was blamed on his participation of the Oslo Accords. His assassin was not favorable of these Oslo Accords. He did not want to see peace with Palestine. So the narrative goes. His assassin was named Yigal Amer. Look at his name gematria in simple English. 95. He killed this man in the year 1995. 95 is also the reflection of 59, and 59 is the kill number in Jewish gematria. Now get this, Truth Seeker. Right now, there's a big fuss between Netanyahu and Obama over this Iran nuclear deal. On the date of April 11th, I want to show you this first before we go over that slide. On April 11th this year, Obama criticized Israel over the Iran deal. On 4/11, remember, this is the number of assassin. Yitzhak Rabin was killed on November 4th, which can be written 4/11 just like April 11th. But anyway, Obama said hobgoblin, this word hobgoblin. Consistency is the hobgoblin of narrow minds critiquing Netanyahu, Israel's leadership. The gematria of hobgoblin is quite interesting. It sums to 84. This is another number closely connected to assassinations. Obama in Jewish gematria equals 84. He's born on August 4th, 8-4. He comes from the land of Lincoln, has many connections to Lincoln. Lincoln died April 15th, 1865, a date with 84 numerology. His assassination is blamed on the Jesuits. I'm telling you, the Jesuits, the Zionists, the Masons, they are all intertwined. There are all secret societies that operate by the numbers. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. He departed the United States on the Jesuit order's birthday. He has a life number of 84. He departed on a Sunday, the only day of the week that has 84 gematria. Of course, he left the United States of America, and United States of America in Pythagorean gematria also has this connection to 84. Lincoln died trying to save the Union. Remember, United States of America equals 84. He dies on a date with 84 numerology. He died at 722, this number having to do with pi, cycles, and circles. History's been by the numbers, Truth Seeker. So anyway, as a response, we get this story on September 11th. House edges towards legal action against Obama on Iran deal. And what is the resolution? 411. 411, the number of assassination. John F. Kennedy was assassinated from 411 Elm Street, and 2 years before his death in 61, the year Obama was born, this story happened on the Andy Griffith Show. From this episode, Deputy Fife attempts to interrogate a sleeping Otis to ascertain where the moonshine is being distilled. Otis feigns sleep and leads Barney on a wild goose chase north towards Canada and back to the address of 411 Elm Street. John F. Kennedy was assassinated from 411 Elm Street, Truth Seeker. Mayberry. It is often that the Barney realizes that Otis has said the moonshine is being distilled at Barney's own residence, 411 Elm Street. This address is interesting since 2 years later, President Kennedy would be assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald, who was firing from the Texas School Board Depository located at the very address in Dallas, Texas, 411 Elm Street. Again, JFK died on a date with 96 numerology, like the word Freemason, like Satanism, like knowledge. This is history by the numbers, Truth Seeker. The director of this episode, Robert Sweeney. Both the names Robert and Sweeney have gematria of 33, just like the name Kennedy. Even his brother, Bobby Kennedy, was assassinated by somebody named Sirhan, who has name gematria of 3333. Summing to 66, or with the S exceptions, also summing to 84, Sirhan. Again, JFK, the 44th term president, the 35th president overall. He was the 8th president to die in office. The next president to die in office will be the 9th. Notice that the 44th president, Obama, is 9 presidents later. The first president to ever die in office was William Henry Harrison, the 9th president. This year, Obama attended a funeral in Charleston 9 days after the shooting of 9 people, an event coded by the numbers. He sung Amazing Grace, having gematria of 105, like the day of the year Lincoln died on. Also, the man who wrote Amazing Grace has an August 4th birthday, just like Obama, 8-4. So much coding, Truth Seeker. The word Zionism equals 105, so does Masonry. Israel, where we started, is the Zionist state. Here's a little oddball I'll throw at you, Truth Seeker. I have a post on Gandhi and showed how Gandhi was by the numbers. His wife was born on April 11th and died in the year 44 on February 22nd, 222. Very interesting. Her name in gematria sums to 39 and 93, just like Neset, just like Israel's Congress. I just bring this up because this woman, attached to a very famous figure, died with all the same numbers that we see in all these other assassinations. My point is, the Zionists killed by these numbers. Mahatma Gandhi's wife was no doubt killed by this same gang. A very sick gang. So I hope that message was clear. A lot of information right there. But this is really what's going on, Truth Seeker. And I fully expect that Obama will be killed before the end of his term. All of these stories, from resolutions to 44-second protests of silence at the UN, they're all signs of what's to come. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.